Hello. Alright, so I'm here to make a video on things to look out for, red flags, when dating when dating. Too late for me, I guess. Signs that I should have listened to, didn't. Rule number 1. Don't think you can fix somebody that you're dating. Don't think that if you give them enough love, or if that you're nice enough, or if you're the really good friend, that they're going to change just for you. They won't. Most important. Number 2, they start calling you names within the first month that you're dating them. Walk away, because it'll never stop. It'll only get worse. Number 3, if they try to isolate you by spending all their time with you and making you feel uncomfortable whenever you're hanging around somebody else, like your other friends or whatever, and they say inappropriate things to like embarrass you or whatever to try and keep you to themselves, block. 3, if when you're dating them within the first month or even the first couple of weeks, if they drink excessively or anything else excessively, then chances are they're going to do that for the rest of their lives, and that'll be their coping mechanism or strategy. Whenever they're stressed about anything or have a bad day at work or whatever, they're going to go to the bottle or whatever. Huge red flag. Walk the other way. 4, men that try to control you, or women, when they try to control you from the very beginning, like if they say things like, why are you wearing those boots, or why are you wearing that dress, or it's the wrong color, it doesn't look good on you, or your skirt's too short, or they act like they're jealous whenever you step outside of the house around other people and try to control what you wear, what you do, what you eat, or if they tell you you're too fat, things like that. And even though if they say they're joking or they won't do it again, don't believe it. Walk the other way. In that case, I would run. Never look back. Politeness. The person that you're dating never opens the door for you, never buys you a gift without looking at the price tag. If they open their wallet and start flashing all of their money in 20s and they don't do anything to spend money on you, like taking you out to a fancy restaurant once in a while, or if they're couponing everything, things like that, then they're always going to be thrifty like that, and that's not always a fun person to hang out with. You want somebody who's going to actually, think that you're worth it, to buy you nice things, to let you have whatever you want when you go out shopping. Not all the time. Special occasions, birthday anniversaries, like if they don't give you cards or do thoughtful things, chances are they never will. I'd walk. They're never going to change. When they talk about your friends in a sexual way, making comments about how, hot they are or certain assets of their body, and they continue to do that continuously, is a bad thing. Walk. Really. Tell them where to go and how to get there. Don't believe them if they say they'll never do it again, because they will. It's another act of control. It's another act of slowly moving you away from your safety nets, from your friends, and then they start working on the family. If you're dating somebody and they tell off your parents, huge red flag. Don't even blink. Just get out, because they'll always be like that. They'll always degrade your parents. They'll always put your family down. That's what they do, and they do that purposefully. So the parents or the families don't want to come and visit or be around you, and it's another act of control so they can have, all of your time and everything. There's not going to be anybody that's going to be calling you. You're going to have no place to go. People are going to stop, uh, you know, having conversations with you, and it gets to the point where it isolates you between you and him, or you and her, depending on who the person is you're dating. And that's exactly what they want. They want control. They want you to be part of their world with them only and not anybody else, because they don't want you to see what normal is. They want to see whatever the normal is that they want to show you. If they tell you that they're really good to you because here's examples of other people that get treated way worse than you're getting treated, and that you're lucky to have somebody like that who doesn't do some other things that are hurtful or abusive, don't believe them. It's they're trying to compare how they're better than somebody else, and there's mental and physical abuse, and it's you're being groomed. I don't know how else to put it. Don't have sex with somebody within the first month, within the first year, even. Know that once you do that, and once you take that next step, it's harder for you to walk away from somebody, even if they are controlling or whatever, because something happens in the chemistry once you sleep with somebody. So don't do it unless you don't care, unless you're strong enough to be able to walk. I suggest that you don't even do that at all. There's no rush. You've got the rest of your life for sex and everything else. Don't. If there's a boy that makes you believe that he'll only stay with you if you have sex with him, I'd turn around and run. I wouldn't even give them a second glance or a second date. A relationship is all about being best friends first and lovers second. And there's no such thing as you have to have an engagement ring in 2 years or get married in 4 years. You get the ring and you'll know, because it'll be a feeling inside and you can't stop thinking about them, that type of deal. But when that happens, you don't have to rush to get married. God, you have the rest of your lives together, so what's the difference whether you have a certificate or not? Marry when you're ready. Have sex with somebody when you're ready. Don't let them pressure you into it. If a man or a woman invites you to their place and the first thing they offer you is an alcoholic drink, that means they're trying to relax you so they can take advantage of you and hope to be able to get laid or whatever. Don't buy it. Don't fall for it. When I was quite young, I was dating somebody who was 5 years older than me. I was in high school, and looking back now, we never sat on the couch and watched TV. We never went to restaurants. He would open his wallet, flash all of his money, but he would never spend that money on me. He would buy me flowers, but that was it. I would get like a dozen roses or whatever. Whenever I'd go to his place, the first thing he'd do is offer me an alcoholic drink, one or two, and then I got all giddy, and then I got all happy, and then I found that shortly after that we were in the bedroom and having sex, and to the point where that night I would have trouble walking when I went home because he was a grown man and I wasn't an adult woman. So be careful. Be careful. Don't fall for that shit. Don't let somebody drink you, put drink into you. Don't leave your drink alone when you're at a party or you're on a date. Take your drink with you to the bathroom wherever you go. Just assume the worst. That way the worst can happen. Okay. If somebody's really nice to you, it doesn't mean they're always going to be nice to you. So don't let all your defenses down, please. Listen to your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, chances are something's not right. I went to a party with this same person, and we were at the party, and next thing you know, we're in this stranger's basement and on a bed, and he's having sex with me. That's all he ever did, actually, is have sex with me and then take me home. Like 2 hours later, and he would tell me that he loved me and that I was beautiful, and he said all the right things, but all he wanted was a young girl and sex. That's it. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about me as a person. He never bought me fancy dresses or fancy clothes or diamonds. But even if somebody did do that, sex isn't going to guarantee you that they're going to marry you or want to be with you for the rest of your life. And honestly, if you want to, that's fine. But if you don't, then don't. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay if you feel uncomfortable. There's no time limit to anything when it comes to a relationship or dating. If somebody loves you enough, they'll wait as long as it takes if they care for you truly. And I have to believe there's good people out there, and not everybody is just looking for one thing. A sexual relationship is great, but make sure it's what you want. Make sure you're ready and don't get taken advantage of, and don't get bullied and don't get controlled. Things like that, because if you marry somebody like that, it'll only get worse. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. Trust me, I know. I know I've given you lots of red flags and do's and don'ts. If you have a good feeling about somebody and they're polite, that's a good thing. That's a good quality. If they ask you where you'd like to go to eat, I think that's a good thing. Instead of them deciding where to take you, if they ask what kind of food you like, if you go to a grocery store together and they let you fill the cart with whatever you want, don't look at the price tag all of the time when you're dating or whatever. That's a good quality. That's a good thing. Opening the door for you every time, whether the car door or a door in a mall or a grocery store or wherever it is that you go together. Very important. Notice things like that. If they smile at you, my husband used to wink at me all the time when we first started dating, and he said I only did that because we were dating. He says, and he says I married you now, so I don't have to do that anymore. And it was one of my favorite qualities. I don't get it anymore. And don't think that you're going to live happily ever after and that you can make everything right by being with somebody and doing, all the right things or whatever. If you have to beg for anything in the first few months when you're in a relationship, you're always going to have to beg for things, whether it's a puppy, whether it's a child, whether it's a dress that is too expensive in their eyes. If they have no problems handing off $200 or $300 for something to a stranger, but they won't do that for you, that's a problem. Or they expect things for free all the time just because you're their wife, and that they just expect things, little things that you need to pay attention. Here's a big one. Here's probably the biggest one. You see how they are around their mother. So if they talk bad about their mother or say a lot of disrespectful things like that, that's a big clue right there that you'll know how you're going to be treated depending on how they treat their mother. That will let you know right away from either the mother, as well as the child that you're dating. You can tell how they talk about their child as well. It's a huge, huge sign when you meet the mother to see how they interact and react with their mother. Will tell you how they're going to interact and react with you. if you decide to marry them. That's probably the biggest one right there. If you want to heed my warning, heed my advice. That's the best way to tell whether that's a female, whether that's a male, doesn't matter. You'll be able to tell how they treat their mother. If they treat them with a lot of respect, then chances are they're going to treat you with respect. As long as you treat them with respect. It has to be a mutual thing. Animals, if they're really messy when you're dating them in their truck or whatever, then chances are they're going to be gross and messy if you marry them. There's no way you can fix a thing like that. There's nothing worse than marrying somebody who's controlling, whether it's the male or the female. I know that, I understand that it happens a little bit in a relationship. Somebody has to be stronger than the other or whatever, but it's a mutual relationship. It's a relationship where, both parties are allowed to get mad and pissed off, and both parties are allowed to have just as much say as the other, and that there are two opinions. When you have two opinions, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want, and it should be respected, even if the other party doesn't agree in your opinion. They still have to respect that you have one. Treat you as if you're an individual and that you matter. If they don't, walk. Because, unless you're okay with that, walk. It's just not a good thing. It's a very, very bad thing. If you're having difficulties and they won't go to therapy with you, it means they don't want to change. That's another reason to walk. I wouldn't walk down the aisle and say I do. I wouldn't marry somebody unless you go to some kind of counseling with them first. And if they're not open to that counseling, then you know that they're not going to want to change. I wouldn't marry them. Because I think everybody needs a little bit of counseling, whether you have mental issues or not. I think it's important to go to marriage counseling to understand the do's and the don'ts, and to make sure that it's the right time to marry and it's the right person and shit like that. So, yeah. When somebody's controlling, the first thing they do is they start talking bad about your friends. And slowly through the years, they start telling you that you don't look good wearing this skirt because it's too short, to change your skirt, or why are you wearing the boots with that dress? It doesn't look right, or go in and change, or they'll make comments to make you feel less confident about yourself when you go out. That happens over time, where they start telling you what to wear, what to do. When you go out, if you laugh or whatever and they make fun of you and tell you to behave yourself, or that they're embarrassed of you or whatever, that's a control thing. That's a bad thing. If they walk in front of you and not beside you, that means you might as well be a puppy dog and you might as well have a leash, because they're going to just, go about their business like you're not even there, like you don't even exist. And if they do that when you're dating, then they're going to do that when you're married. And there's nothing worse than having to walk 10 or 20 feet behind somebody because they won't even look back to see if you're all right or to hold your hand. Somebody that knows that you're having difficulty with getting in and out of a vehicle and they don't come over to help you get into that vehicle. If they don't do that when you're dating, they're not going to do that when you're married. Another controlling thing they do is they control what you eat. They control what's put in the fridge. They control how the house is supposed to look in their eyes, and where you can put things. That's a bad thing as well. It only gets worse through the years. If one chooses to park their vehicle in the garage because they think they're more important than you, or they say, I'm the one that has the job, so I need the vehicle, and then you have to scrape your windows every year, and you have to keep your vehicle outside. Little things like that is not a good thing. When they don't spend much time with you, when they're away from you all of the time, that's a red flag. That's a sign that they don't really give a shit about you unless you give them something that they desire or want. And most of the time, that's sex, and only sex. That's the only time they seem to want to care. Or money. If you have money or something that they want, they'll also do whatever they can, even if they have to make you feel like if you don't give it to me, you're out, like things like that. It's another control thing. Whether I had $100 or 1,000, I'd always have to give half, it seemed, and feel guilty for having it, even though it's for a disability. Didn't seem to matter to him. Money's money, regardless, even though that money that I'm earning is money that almost killed me. Irrelevant. Money is money, whether I have 1,000 or 20,000 or 100. He wants half of that because, well, because they'll make you, they'll guilt you into giving them whatever it is that they want. That's what they do. It's not a good thing. Right fighters. Somebody who'll argue with you and make you feel really bad because they feel they have to be right all of the time. Even though each person has their own opinion and both parties can be right in their own way. Right fighters are not people who deserve to be married. They're just not, because they'll always be right fighters and they'll do whatever it takes to prove that you're wrong. And that's also a very bad quality. Somebody who doesn't put their loved one's needs first, ever. Like, I was afraid to sleep in the dark, and I was told that I could have Christmas lights up. And then a week later, all of a sudden, I wasn't allowed to have the Christmas lights on anymore. And so I didn't like it, so I didn't stay there. And it somehow made me feel like it was my fault. You have to do things that are going to make both parties happy. You know, I'm not saying marriage is easy, and I'm not saying turn everybody away that crosses your path. But, you know, there's a fine line between, you know, like things like this, you know, can happen over years, and it's true. And you have to make your decision whether, you know, you're going to tolerate shit or you're not. And I think that's very individual. All I'm trying to give you is red flags, because even though it's too late for me and I've made my decision on what I want to do with my life and who I want to be with, you know, I feel like if I can give these warnings out there to whoever wants to see these videos, that, you know, maybe it'll help them make a better decision to find a person that's actually going to treat them with dignity and respect, which at the end of the day, we want to be heard and we want to be treated with dignity and respect. You know, we don't expect perfection in our loved ones, but we do expect respect, and we do expect to be able to hold our own dignity and, you know, self-esteem. For me, I don't have any anymore. I don't light up in the morning because, you know, nobody lights up when they see me, and it just feels like every day is a chore and every day is sad. There's nothing more sad than feeling sad after everything that us women and mothers and wives do for our family. In the first week, I was told by the person that I married now, he said to me, I'm the most impossible person to live with. You should walk away. And I was drunk that night. And I was on the rebound. And it's the best time, actually, to try and suck somebody into acting like you really care and that you're a really nice person and all that stuff. And it's the best time to get somebody's heart, too. But it's cruel to do something like that. And, you know, try and get in their pants or whatever to say, oh, I'll make you feel better, right? And I was vulnerable. And I thought when he said that to me, I thought, but he just has to meet me. I can make him all better. I can fix him. I can make him love me. He's never loved anybody like he's loved me. That was my first mistake, trying to think that I could change him. I know now, 30 years later, that I can't change him. and you can't change anybody, don't even bother, don't even try. If somebody has a mental illness, if somebody's angry all the time in the first week that you meet them, they're always going to be like that. Things can only get worse, not better. So make your decisions, make them wisely. Decide what it is you want in a man. I wanted somebody a little rough around the edges, and he was very rough around the edges, and very naughty, and not the kind, he could have been a lot more of a gentleman than he was. But anyway, whatever. My hands are tied now. So I'm just saying, if you don't want perfect, then you can accept somebody that has all of these imperfections. But if you do want somebody more perfect, then try and focus on being friends first. And don't rush into the love and the sex and the marriage. Take your time. If somebody really cares for you, then they're going to spoil you and love you and care about you, whether you give them that sex or not. Because these things, all great things come to those who wait. So don't give yourself away unnecessarily unless you want to. I had fun giving myself away, but I didn't know what the cost was going to be. I wish now, looking back, if I could have made another choice, that I would have took things a lot slower, and that I would have kept my clothes on for a really, really long time. And I would have also got to know a bunch of other people before I made a decision to walk down the aisle with one. Because you can't just pick the first person that walks by. Believe that you're worth more than that. It's no different than finding the perfect dress or the perfect shirt. You're going shopping for a man or a woman. Look around. Don't make any choices immediately. Because that's what the boy wants. The boy wants you to do that. They want you to choose them. They want you to wear their ring. They want to marry you, and then you're not going to really know what you're going to get. And by then what? Too late? It's been a lot of work to get where I am today in 30 years, and it's been very tiring and very difficult. But I'm still here. So I'm just giving you all the things that I've learned through all of the men that I've had in my life since I was very young, and all the things that I've learned and all the things that they've done to me. And I just want you to make a smart choice and a smart decision so that you can have the happy life that you deserve, because you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect and love.